Welcome back F11 members to part 2 of the Fundamentals of Post-Production video tutorials for issue 86, February 2019. Here on the screen we have a picture that I shot down at West Bay a week or so back. Lovely winter light on the cliffs there. I shot it with the super wide 15mm fisheye lens, which I haven't used for some time. And fisheye lenses distort terribly, or extremely, put it that way. As you can see, that immense, real barrel distortion showing up with the curvature of the horizon here. And that can be a look that can be very irritating, but for just occasionally it can create opportunities and can be used creatively. I wanted to do a picture literally stood in the surf featuring these dramatic cliffs there at West Bay, and it came together quite nicely. I shot it with the EOS R, handheld obviously. I couldn't avoid my shadow being in the frame, so I made it part of the picture really. So the post-production on this picture was pretty easy actually. The lighting did it all really. So I just want to talk you through this one, and I think it illustrates the point if I show you the before and after, that post-production doesn't have to be an epic, can usually be a very simple process. Most pictures I spend maximum of 10 minutes on really, and this is a good example of that. I'm going to do it all in Lightroom, and just looking at the let's go back to where we started. And if I go back to reset now, this is the image straight off the memory card. And normally when I import pictures, I add a preset at import, and it's called this one, DMP1. There, I'm going to apply that preset. It just adds a touch of vibrance, a touch of sharpening, and remove chromatic aberrations. We've done that in a previous video tutorial, so that's been applied. Let's see what I need to do to this picture. Well, the lighting's strong, the composition's strong, really it's just a little bit flat. So let's start as we do normally by looking at the black and the white points here, and I'm going to come down here to the white point, hold down my Alt button, move the whites to the right until I start clipping, and there you can see I start to clip here in the bright white of the surf there. Same with the blacks, and I'm going to pull the blacks back until I start clipping, and you can see that those yellow bits starting to tell me that I'm throwing away information. We don't want to do that, so pull it back until I'm not doing so. Okay, well that's added a little bit of sparkle to the picture, but I still think it's generally a bit flat. So what I'm going to do now is use this tone curve here, and can you see here it says point curve, and then we've got these presets. So I'm going to use some medium curve, medium contrast there, and that's given the picture nice punch really, just by adding some contrast. But I think what we can do is improve on that. So I'm going to use the adjustment brush here to select different areas of the image and then fine-tune the brightness and contrast in those areas. The three areas be the sand and the cliffs, the white surf, and the sky. So let's start with the sand and the cliffs. I click on the point brush adjustment, and then come down here and click on Show Selected Mask Overlay. I'm just going to give myself a nice big brush here. Come down here and make sure Auto Mask is switched on. That means that as I select the area that I want to make adjustments to by painting in here, this red is just telling me which bits I have selected. It's not actually doing anything to the image as yet. Okay, make sure that's all not. And now, can you see that I've used a big brush, but because I've used auto mask here, it's actually selected that well-defined edge really accurately. I'm just going to come down on my brush size here and fine-tune that a little bit. Come in here and along here. Okay, up on the brush size again. Okay, so now I've made the selection, unclick the Show Selected Mask Overlay box, and now I come up here and what do I want to do? I'm just going to adjust my whites on this here. If I go too far, it'll show me where I start to clip. I'm going to go, just do this visually there, and the same with the blacks here as well. You can see I start to clip there. That's just giving me a bit of bottle there, and I want to give just a touch of contrast in there as well. And I think that's given some nice impact to that area without overcooking it. Okay, so I'm going to click on Done. Now to me, this area of white surf here is just looking a little bit muddy. So I'm going to use the adjustment brush again. Now select a nice big brush to start with anyways. Click on the Show Selected Mask Overlay. Make my selection just by painting in, selecting the area that I want to adjust. I'm not going to be too ambitious with this. I'm going to keep my adjustment subtle so that the picture doesn't look overcooked and we don't have any ghastly halos appearing. I'm just fine-tuning my selection here. Now, say for example I went too far and took a bit too much, what I could do is come along here and click on Erase, and then you can erase back that selection. So this adjustment brush is really quite handy. Okay, click on Show Selected Mask, click that off again, and again I'm just going to put in a little bit of whites there. I can't go far before I start to clip, so I'm going to brighten it a touch and put a touch of contrast in there. And I think that's brightened that up. It's given it a bit of sparkle there. Click on Done. Now my final, my final area for selection is the great sky, isn't it? It really doesn't need much attention, but I just want to tweak it very, very subtly. So I'm going to do the same. I'm going to use the adjustment brush here and select my area that I want to look at. And it should pick up the edge of that cliff because I've got auto mask on. Bear in mind that if your adjustments are too extreme, no matter how clever the auto mask, it's not going to look natural. So I'll keep things subtle. Okay, click off Show Selected Mask Overlay now. Now what do I want to do to this? Again, just dial in a few the blacks there and touch on the whites as well. If I go too far, I'll clip. I think I don't want to go very far at all with that. But I think that's added a bit of contrast to the sky there, which I'm quite happy with. And click on Done. And step back. I think I'm just going to add a touch more vibrance. I'm at +6 at the moment. I'm going to go up to +10. So I just hit the actual number there and then use my up and down on the keyboard to fine tune it. I'd say +9 there. That works fine. And I reckon I'm done with this picture now. Let's look at the before and after again. And it's really kind of given the picture that punch, hasn't it? I'm wary of using the word punch because it's a preset in Lightroom that adds too much clarity and too much vibrance, but just fine-tuning different areas of the image, adding contrast, has really enhanced that picture. Okay, that's it for this month. We'd like to hear from you. You know where we are.